Terrific. So thank you for coming. So first of all, I am advising you today that in a previous administration, I wrote the governor a letter stating that I don't believe the council should hold hearings for pardons. The parole board conducts a thorough investigation, holds fair and comprehensive hearings, and then recommends to the governor, and then the governor recommends to the council. But with my 24 years, this is unique, and I believe this pardon is an exception to my personal rule. For the first time ever, all counselors were sent a video of the parole board hearing for Mr. Jean. I do believe that adage, a picture's worth 1,000 words, really applied. I heard from my counselor, who expressed her appreciation to be educated in this way. She felt to view the hearing was very valuable. Thank you very much for letting me know that. I hope all the counselors did view that video, and it is available through our office. I'm not having the petitioner for the pardon present, as it would be overwhelming for him, as he has health limitations as well as other limitations. I want to caution that I do not want this petitioner to be exploited in any way. He should have the right to continue his life in a respected manner apart from the results of our hearing and vote. This young man has experienced abuse starting as a child, coming to this country at the age of 6. He had previously been turned over in Haiti to his grandmother. So he's had no family support and literally going through life alone on his own. It is important to note that Massachusetts governmental organizations and departments, as I see it, did not lend that helping hand that he needed so much. Fortunately, there are 2 people here who will speak on his behalf who did reach out and help this young man. So I'm going to, first, I'm going to ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak, would you stand to say the oath? Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so I will first call on our first witness. And do we have the order that we had them or what? Okay, so we'll call on Attorney Patty first, and please take your seat.
I'm either one, since you read
You can sit right there.
either one would be fine. Okay.
Can you please give me the names?
Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me to speak. Thank you for having this hearing for Mr. Jean. Hopefully, Jody Rosenbaum and I are here to answer any questions people may have, because we believe, as Councilor Devaney said, that the hearing before the parole board was very thorough. It explored his life in Haiti, his life in Florida, his life in DCF for 11 years, and the fact that he was pretty much left on his own, homeless, when he finished DCF, and what happened after that. It also talks about his time in DOC, but most importantly, it talks about what his life has been like since then. I feel like, yes, the state was complicit in what happened to Mr. Jean, but as we say in the petition, the state is now going to be complicit in saving him and helping him continue his life the way it's going. I know that you watched the hearing before the parole board. I think you only saw 50 people in the audience, and that's because that's all that would fit there. They limited it to 50 because those were the only seats. There were more people who wanted to be there to show their support for Mr. Jean, to show their pride in what he's done with his life, given what he started out with. He is someone who started out with no resources, no help, no family, with nothing. And he has connected with so many people over the years by virtue of his genuineness, his kindness, his personality, and his never giving up attitude. Yes, he has cognitive limitations. Yes, he's going to have issues, but he's not let any of those issues hold him back. And if he gets a pardon, he will be able to get a green card. He will be able to earn money. He will be able to get a job as a cook or any other variety of things that he's interested in. But he will succeed and he will do well. And you will be proud of him as somebody who absolutely deserves this pardon. Pardon is to remove obstacles to a person's success in life. Just think about it. To remove obstacles to a person's success in life, that's a lot of power you have. It's a very important thing. And for Mr. Jean, the problem with his success in life right now is the fact that he has this conviction from almost 10 years ago now, close to 10 years. It was in September. Yeah, it would be 9 years this September. So it's time to pardon him and let him get on with his life. I want to just point out that even though we knew there wasn't going to be a lot going on here today, people showed up in support of him anyways. And I think it's important to note all the staff from More Than Words that are here and people who have met him through More Than Words. It's important to note that Gail Garinger, the fabulous former child advocate for Massachusetts, is here. Mike DeCita, who's in charge of the Children and Family Law Unit at CPCS and has watched over this and helped us put all of this together, is here. All of those people are showing their support, and all of the human service agencies that I've been in touch with around Kenny are showing their support. So there's a lot of people urging this pardon to help him get on with the next step of his life. And that's all I'm going to say, and introduce Jody. And then if you have questions, Jody and I will try to answer them.
Do you have any questions?
I'm fine with hearing from you both and then questioning together, if that's fine with you.
I just said that because Jody has so many more details about his life that if you had questions, she might be the best one to answer, but I'm happy to come back and answer too.
I have just one question. He is a young man, he's in his 20s. Now, when did you first, he's gone through abuse from the time he's a child, he's gone through abandonment. When did you first take this case up to help this man?
It would be when Jody called me, which was probably about 2 years ago. About two or 3 years ago, started putting this together, yeah.
Right. Well, I thank you. And my whole purpose is, and it was wonderful to get the parole board hearings to let people know so they wouldn't have to recount that whole thing. And I want to thank the parole board. I think, people don't know, this particular parole board, they're very respectful, and they did it in a fair, comprehensive way. And they really asked all the questions that, that we needed to have answered. So I thank you so much, really, for all you've done. And so our next speaker will be Jody Rosenberg. So tell us where you're from and what you do.
Good morning. Jody Rosenbaum. I'm the founder and CEO of More Than Words. Thank you, Councillor Devaney, for assembling this hearing. Deep gratitude to the parole board and to the governor and all of her staff who've helped get this petition to your desk, and for being here to hopefully move this forward in support of Kenny. I've known Kenny for over 11 years now. And I've been able to bear witness to a lot of the heartbreaks and the triumphs in his life. My background is in the child welfare and juvenile justice system and as a public school teacher. And for the past almost 20 years, I've had the privilege of starting and building and growing More Than Words with some extraordinary staff and board members, many of whom are here, and many young people who've helped build the organization along the way. If you're not familiar, we're a nonprofit social enterprise, which means we believe in using business to deliver on our mission. And our mission is really working with young people who are in the foster care system, court involved, homeless, and out of school, and providing them with intensive job training, with paid jobs in our businesses, while supporting them with case management and advocacy to help them with that really critical transition to adulthood. And so we partner deeply with district attorney's offices, DCF, probation, state agencies, in addition to DCF, like DMH, DYS, DTA, schools, nonprofits. So I'm here in my capacity as the CEO of More Than Words, but I'm also here as a mom, because Kenny's somebody who really matters to me and my family, and is not just a client that was served by More Than Words, but as my daughter said, he's like family, Mom. And so I met him when he was 17 and living in a group home, and he came to our Waltham location in DC at More Than Words to work, and he loved work, and he was great at work. Team. He loved when he got a promotion and a new shirt and signifying his growth at More Than Words. And it was clear how much that mattered to him and how little he got that in his life. As you've seen from the hearing and the petition, things went sideways when his case was closed. Life got hard, choices were made. He did not understand the implications of his status because with a 70 IQ and state agencies accountable for him for most of his life, he didn't really understand what his immigration status was. I spent time visiting Kenny while he was at the DOC. Susan Church, who is now working in the governor's office, was able to help get him out of a situation he was in and support him. And then we reached out to folks who did help get things back on track. Secretary Sutter supported, Rep. Holmes supported, and he's been doing great for 4.5 years in the community. But with this hanging over his head, making it really hard for him to move his life forward. I have a lot of pictures of Kenny. He's got a trademark thumbs up in most of them. Pictures of Thanksgiving, pictures of Christmas in Chinatown, pictures of birthday parties, pictures of him dancing with me at my daughter's bat mitzvah, and lots of pictures with Kenny eating because he loves food. So I'm in awe of this young man. He, despite everything he has been through, has a brightness and a smile that is really quite captivating, and will warm your heart and warm the room. And this is clearly the just and right decision. This has been like a never-ending punishment for him, and this is the only cure to help him move his life forward. And so I will say he has lots of hopes and dreams to be able to get a job in a kitchen, to work, to move his life forward, to get a dog, and to live without this hanging over him. So we appreciate your support in helping to move this forward on behalf of Kenny. Thank you.
Any comments or questions?
Yeah, for just in general for both, I guess. So first of all, thank you for being here today, and I appreciate very much the video that was shared of the parole board hearing itself, and watched the whole thing and really gained a lot from that. So can I just first ask you some questions about your organization? So what kinds of businesses do you have, and are they all designed around supporting youth in kind of growing their skills, or?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I can give you some information after this, but we started with in the book business, and that's sort of the centerpiece of our work. Our young people are out on trucks sourcing 4.5 million donated books, sorting them, scanning them, and selling them online in our retail business. We do pop-up shops. We also now have a beautiful mobile retail book truck that can drive around and people can walk into and shop. But we've definitely expanded since then. We now also take high-end thrift clothing, and we sell clothing. We source and curate an inventory of social enterprise products, other mission-driven products that we sell in our businesses. And we also have an event business where our young people help rent out our space. You can even have your wedding or party at More Than Words, all of which are vehicles for helping young people develop skills and get paid.
And it's all based in Boston?
So we have a site in Waltham and a site in the south end of Boston on East Berkeley Street.
Very interesting. I live in Western Mass, so I hadn't heard of your organization, but I was very interested in hearing about it. More as commentary, I was really struck, and Councilor Devaney also alluded to the ball being so badly dropped by the state in this case, and feel a sense of responsibility in picking it back up and kind of closing that immigration status problem that's hanging over his head. It's clearly urgent, and I feel that, validate that. Also, I was expecting to see a very different kind of presentation from Mr. Kenny, or is it Mr. Jean? Mr. Jean? Kenny Jean? Okay. Having read the assessment of his cognitive status, he presents with a greater deal of articulation and sense of presence, and clearly does have some cognitive like processing or executive function, something going on that is terrible evident, but I was very impressed by the way he conducted himself and the way that he spoke and answered questions, and just his general demeanor and just presentation was not what I was expecting, but I was very impressed listening to him. I guess I think it was touched on in the hearing, but I just really wanted to hear it directly. So in the event that going forward, he gets his pardon, he gets his immigration, he gets his green card, but something goes sideways and he ends up homeless, or he ends up with and feels that sense of desperation. Do you feel that he's come to a place where, in processing where he's at and what his needs are, that he'll be in a place to reach out for the support that clearly is around him versus possibly making another desperate choice that ends him in trouble? Like, do you feel like he's grown a sense of consequence-based choices? Do you know what I mean?
It's a great question. So I would say two things, and I'll defer to you. Number one, there's just brain development, right? We know so much about emerging adult brain development and the capacity for that frontal lobe to develop and to be able to slow yourself down and make choices. And so some of this for all young adults, including Kenny, is a function of time. And at the age of 28, he is a wholly different human being than he was, right? At that age of 19. And when you have trauma and when you are in a desperate situation, you're really only operating from the back of your brain. You're not really able to access that. And so I do think there's just a developmental piece, a time piece that is on his side. I think the other big thing I would say is he has a support network. I mean, when this happens, we were desperately trying to stay in touch and support him, but there was nothing. There was nobody. It was really just sent to the streets. And so he is he receives DMH services. He has an entire VinFen team that is actively supporting him on a regular basis. And I think that is, number one, his go-to. He's also living in a slightly supported SRO environment where there's a property manager and people checking on him. So, and there's us. And I think Kenny will be in my life as long as he'll have me. But I think helping him, continue to use the services, he is religious about going to therapy and goes every week and uses his resources, which I think is a really different time and place for him.
I appreciate that. All right, so thank you very much. I am obviously fully in support of this pardon, and I know the rest of the counselors, though they may not be here today, are very much enthusiastic and supportive of the governor bringing these cases to us, and recognize the impact that it will have going forward on removing those barriers that are keeping Kenny, for instance, but all of the persons that come to us from living their best life. So thank you for being here, and you have my support.
And I just want to add, my colleague comes 3 hours to come to this hearing. So I want you to know that, how much I appreciate it. I just regret that the other councils are missing out on your testimony. It's heartfelt, and I can't thank you enough what you've done. And just a little history that people might not know. In the 60s, the Governor's Council, I wasn't on there, the Governor's Council heard 20 and voted 20 to 30 hearings every week. But then came Governor Weld, and Governor Weld was hard on crime. Well, he misdirected it, didn't he? And so through the years, we've had very few. And I feel so positive with this administration. And I'm actually meeting with her tomorrow, and we're going to talk about it. We need more commutations, we need more pardons, and we've got a wonderful administration here. So I couldn't be happier, but I wanted to give you that little history. Now, the other thing is, I want you to know, my letter to the previous governor is on file, a copy, to show that I really did send that letter about hearings. But I felt this was unique and it needed to be said, and you are representing what the need is, that our government agencies and these departments are supposed to be helping people. And if it wasn't for these two people, there wouldn't be a pardon today. There were too many roadblocks all along. So I thank you both so much for it, really. And so having said that, is there anyone here who would like to say something who is not on the list? You're welcome to. Anyone? No takers, okay. You know what? You've said it all, and I really appreciate it. So next Wednesday, we will meet with the Lieutenant Governor. It's called the Public Assembly, and she will call on me to make the motion. And I don't have a poker face, and I am going to be voting, and I can assure you that with that parole board hearing, and I know that you said it, that all the questions have been answered. It's thorough, and I expect a unanimous decision. So thank you all for coming, and thank you all. I think there was, what, 42 people that were at the parole board hearing? Was there about that? I don't think that we've had that many before. So I'm pleased with the parole board. We need more. We've got one coming in, social worker, great. And so we need two more. And then we'll have our full complement. But I thank you all for coming, and I just thank you for the 3 hours you came. So I'm going to adjourn this hearing. Thank you.